It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage.
For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory.
It is right about now, after 10 weeks have expired in the NFL season, that one sees smatterings of the playoff picture beginning to take shape. Some teams around the league have spent the season doing little more than chasing their own shadow, while others, like the Cleveland Browns, are in the thick of their division race, chasing down a playoff spot. Last Sunday, the Browns traveled to sunny Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Both Cleveland and Philadelphia stood at 6-3, a game behind their respective division leaders, Pittsburgh and Dallas, last year's Super Bowl participants. Eagle quarterback Ron Jaworski had suffered 2 consecutive losses prior to the showdown with Cleveland, but hoped that receiving teammate Harold Carmichael would pave the way to victory while achieving his NFL consecutive game catching record. Nearly 70,000 had come to witness Carmichael's historic catch. They would be treated to a heart-pumping thriller of a contest as well. About 90 miles north, another superb football game was played. Many thought that the Meadowlands would be the site of an all-out massacre, for the defending NFC champion Dallas Cowboys were in town to take on the home Giants, a team that had begun its season in the shadow of a 5-game losing streak. A month ago, New York had won little more than an occasional coin toss, but a fair-haired, blue-eyed rookie quarterback named Phil Simms has changed all that, guiding the Giants to 4 in a row, completing a perfect October. Young Simms will have more shadowing him than his own, for he and the Meadowlands would have to bear witness to the Dallas defense, most appropriately titled Doomsday. As it turned out, Dallas coach Tom Landry may have wished he hadn't come. It's Cleveland at Philadelphia and Dallas versus the Giants, a pair of nail-biters on the NFL Game of the Week. If Roger Staubach and his band of star-studded Cowboys anticipated the usual easy victory, the steadily improving Giant defense provided them with a rude awakening. Much of New York's defensive success was the result of outstanding play by their defensive ends. Number 70 right end Gary Jeter was a persistent rusher all afternoon. He had never overcommitted himself, keeping short Staubach's swing passes as meager gains. Anchoring the left side of the Giants' front 3, number 75 George Martin grabbed 3 of New York's 4 sacks of Roger the Dodger. Unfortunately for young Phil Simms, his day was to be hazardous as well. Despite the devastating deeds of Doomsday, Simms remained tough all day and fired the Giants to their first score early in the second quarter. Uncharacteristic of many rookie quarterbacks, Simms, at the ripe age of 23, always plays under control. He is not given to individual heroics and fits of forced passes. Another look reveals that the rookie from Morehead State is firm and patient in the pocket and is adept in threading the ball between defenders. Johnny Perkins is one of many gifted young receivers on the Giant roster. His 32-yard touchdown catch gave the Giants a 7-3 lead with time remaining for a Dallas drive before the half. Staubach went to work, operating from the business end of the shotgun. Entering the game, Dallas had the NFL's #1 ranked offense. The Giants had the NFC's worst. Surely the Cowboys would go in for the go-ahead score and proceed with their proverbial Dallas second-half route. The route was not to be. The Cowboys had 4 shots at a touchdown from the Giant 2. They never scored. It was not long ago that these Giants were 0-5 and heading south. Any further south and they'd have been playing in Buenos Aires. Now they had won 4 in a row and were leading one of the best in football at the half. Taking the brash Giants more seriously, Staubach came out firing in the final 30 minutes. Drew Pearson was again the target of the conference's leading passer. At age 37, Staubach, who was dealt a concussion by the world champion Steelers the preceding Sunday, still plays with daring enthusiasm. His 8-yard run was enhanced by 15 following a Giants spearing penalty. But just as New York had denied Dallas a touchdown to end the first half, they would torment Roger again when he sought out Drew Pearson at the goal line. New York intimidation aided the Giants in clinging to a 7-6 third-quarter lead, setting the stage for a dramatic fourth-quarter finale. Sims hit fellow Moorhead Stater Gary Shirk for a 20-yard pickup and then set his sights on running back Billy Taylor, who had slipped out of the Giant backfield into a vacant corner of the Cowboy end zone. Only a second-year pro, Taylor is yet another example of the talented youth upon which New York is building its future. His catch made it 14-6 Giants, and New York fans caught the scent of victory with only 4.5 minutes remaining. How soon this would all change. A bobbling reception by Butch Johnson, the hero of Super Bowl 12, took the Cowboys to the Giant 32. And Staubach was just one toss away from tightening things up. Drew Pearson's touchdown catch climaxed a day in which he would outshine all other receivers as usual, catching 6 for 124 yards. The worst was yet to come for the Giants, who were unable to move the ball. In 8 perfectly conceived plays, Staubach moved the Cowboys from their own 9 to the Giant 5 in less than 2 minutes. Tony Dorsett, who was limited to a paltry 36 yards rushing, took a Staubach screen for 32 to highlight Dallas's flawless 2-minute drill. With only 6 ticks remaining, place kicker Rafael Septien rammed home the game winner. It is up to the individual to determine which headline would be most accurate and appropriate in describing the game. One could select between Cowboys show why they're champs, stage come from behind win on the road, or Dallas reveals signs of human frailty, nearly stumbles in the Meadowlands. Regardless of what is finally printed, New York linebacker Harry Carson will probably bypass the sports page. But perhaps the headline should read, despite heartbreaking defeat, horizon looks bright for the young Giants. In Philadelphia's Veterans Stadium, there was a dramatic subplot to this battle of 2 teams with identical records. The outcome of this game within a game was decided on the 5th play of the first quarter, when Harold Carmichael drove off the line, then pivoted back to take a screen pass from Ron Jaworski. The net gain was merely 5 yards, but the result was much grander, for Carmichael had set a new NFL record for consecutive games catching passes with 106 straight. And the 69,000 in the stands, as well as Carmichael's Eagle teammates, roared their appreciation. As a salute to the record-breaking feat of consistency, the game was stopped, and the 6'8 receiver's wife and small child were brought on the field, while Carmichael was presented with a special game ball, 106 long-stemmed roses, and a trophy measuring 23 feet 9 inches tall. Fittingly, several moments later, the first touchdown of the day was scored by the man of the day himself, when quarterback Ron Jaworski spotted him alone at the rear of the Cleveland end zone. On a day when the sun shone brightly and the Eagle offense got in gear early, it appeared to be a super day for Harold Carmichael and his Eagle teammates. The first sign it wouldn't be came when the extra point was blocked. Then the Cleveland Browns got their hands on the football for the first time. The Browns, refusing to be dazzled by the Eagle ongoings, had struck quickly for a touchdown. Brian Sipe to Reggie Rucker. Philadelphia knew it needed a good rush today, but on the score, Sipe had plenty of time to wait for Rucker to come open, then hit him with the equalizer. The extra point put Cleveland up by 1. The next time they got the ball, Cleveland's dangerous air attack continued to click, although a little luck played a big part. Reggie Rucker's rebound reception gained 31 yards deep into Eagle real estate. But here the home team's defense asserted itself for the first time. Don Cockcroft was called upon, and as he usually does, the league's most accurate kicker came through for 3 points with a 39-yard field goal that put Cleveland on top 10-6. It was a lead that lasted only 5 more minutes. Wilbert Montgomery, with blocks from number 20 Leroy Harris and number 69 Woody Peoples, turned on the afterburners and streaked 62 yards down the left sideline. The game had suddenly turned with one snap of the ball because of a super runner, something the Browns lacked with the absence of Greg Pruitt. It looked like Wilbert Montgomery would be the difference between the two teams. Another look at the run shows Wilbert cradling the ball with 2 hands at the start of his long journey down the sideline. This was significant because he has a history of fumbling, a fact that would be painfully apparent later in the game. Ahead now 13-10, Philadelphia had a great chance to pad their lead late in the first half. With under 2 minutes left, Jaworski went on a passing binge that took the team 87 yards. After hitting Keith Krefley and Carmichael for advances of 16 and 18 yards over the middle, Jaworski avoided a heavy rush by unloading to Montgomery all alone in the middle. The pass was good for 26 yards and a first down on the Cleveland 21. Here was a golden chance for Philly to go into the locker room ahead by 10. Instead, number 28, Cleveland cornerback Ron Bolton made a great defensive play. Jaworski had Krefley open in the end zone, but Bolton flashed in front of him, picking off the pass and ending the Eagle threat. Because of Ron Bolton, Philadelphia's halftime margin was merely 3 points, 13-10. In the third quarter, the Eagle defense simply dominated the Browns. The key was a pass rush which sacked Sipe 4 times. Its leader is Carl Hairston, number 78, who is quickly gaining recognition as one of the best defensive ends in the league. The defense also made 3 interceptions, 2 of which led to field goals by barefooted Tony Franklin that increased the Eagles' third quarter lead to 19-10. The Eagles were now completely outplaying Cleveland and sensing victory. Philly fans screamed for more. It appeared they might get it when midway through the fourth quarter, Jaworski lofted a beautiful pass that Carmichael took into Cleveland territory. There was little more than 6 minutes left in the game, but now everything changed. Ironically, the reason was Wilbert Montgomery. In the midst of a career-high 197-yard rushing day, the Eagles setback made 2 costly fumbles. The first just stopped a drive, but the second was fatal for Philadelphia. With 4:13 showing on the clock, Montgomery lost the ball on the Eagle 29, and Cleveland had the break they so desperately needed. Throughout the second half, the shadows of defeat had been darkening due to Philadelphia's defensive. Then Jaworski hit a big one to Harold Carmichael for 34 yards and a first down at the Cleveland 11. Disbelieving Eagle fans were back on their feet, cheering this final foray to the goal line.